Hey folks, this is Kalani. Going into Dragonflight, we saw a massive overhaul to the profession system. Everything changed, and I know a lot of folks got lost along the way. As we head into the War Within, the general outline of the profession system is not changing, so we'll have Dragonflight professions for the most part, but there are some very key changes that will make the system more accessible, make it easier to keep up with multiple professions across your alts, give you catch-up options to make sure you never get left behind, and even give you your own set of personal crafting orders to fill whenever you want. When added together, these changes should make professions much easier to jump into, and everyone will have a better chance to make some gold or just be able to craft your own high-level gear. Let's go through what's changing, see what's staying the same, and how it all impacts professions moving forward. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. So as we head into the War Within, pretty much all of your profession progress is going to be reset as per usual, so we'll be leveling up Khaz-Algar versions of every profession and leaving the Dragonflight versions behind. This also means nothing will carry over from Dragonflight. You won't be able to keep any skill points, none of your recipes will help you level up the Khaz-Algar professions, your specialization trees, talents and bonuses won't work anymore, and you won't be able to keep any leftover profession knowledge. Curiously, your profession gear does still seem to provide you with the stats, but the extra skill they provide are specifically for Dragonflight only professions. The new profession equipment coming with the new expansion will have Khaz-Algar profession skill bonuses, so you will probably replace profession gear almost as quickly as you can. We're also going to have all new materials to collect and hunt down, so new ores, metals, stone, herbs, skin, scales, you name it. It's a fresh, clean slate for every profession and the materials needed to fuel them. The good news is that the profession system as a whole is mostly the same as Dragonflight, so if you understood how it all worked in Dragonflight, most of that know-how will be applicable in the War Within as well, so we're going to have the same profession window. Profession gear works in more or less the same way from what I can tell, skill ups and progression is the same, where we probably won't hit 100 in any crafting skill without making some of the more expensive items like epic gear. The different qualities and tiers of items will be sticking around, though there are some important changes to how valuable each tier will be. Recipe difficulty and ranks or tiers of crafting results works in the same way too, so for crafted gear especially, higher tiers or ranks will yield the highest item level results, so we'll all be chasing after those rank 5 crafts yet again. We'll be combining things like profession gear, leveling up the profession itself, as well as trade skill specialization bonuses to increase our overall effectiveness with crafts to access those higher tiers for more lucrative rewards. Most of the profession stats are the same too, but the inspiration stat is going to be removed and replaced with Ingenuity, which we'll touch on a little bit later. So for the most part, professions will largely be the same, but Dragonflight did have quite a few pain points. Thankfully, there are some major changes coming in the War Within to address some of those specifically, so we aren't seeing a huge overhaul or revamp like we did coming into Dragonflight, but the dev team are building upon that foundation, smoothing out some of the kinks, and I think we're going to end up with a much better profession system as a result. Perhaps the most important new change you need to know about is for how crafting orders are going to work. We'll still be able to send crafting orders like before, so you can pick up public or personal orders, but there will also be NPC crafting orders. These will pop up and just be available to you, so everyone will have their own set of NPC orders. They're totally personal, so you don't have to worry about anybody stealing them or taking them from you. You can take your time with them and do as many of them or as few of them as you want to. This is going to fill in quite a few gaps. To start with, you won't have to rely on public orders to get crafting order quests or achievements completed, so those activities will be more reliable for everyone. The crafting orders aren't just low tier or low skill items and crafts either. Some of them are for epic gear, which does mean that you won't be able to complete all of these NPC crafting orders right away and without investing into your profession, but it also means that you will be able to continually level up your professions via NPC crafting orders as well. They also give you a chance to get the first craft profession knowledge for some higher tiers of items, and because the crafting orders also provide all or some of the materials for these crafts, it will be much cheaper versus crafting them for yourself. It also just gives you a way to get used to the crafting order system without having to worry about whether or not you're messing up someone's order, so that anxiety is taken out, which will hopefully help folks get a better grip on the system as a whole. NPC crafting orders are also apparently going to be the main source of profession knowledge in the War Within. We don't have a complete picture of how this will work just yet, or which sources of profession knowledge will stick around, like the various profession treasures or weekly quests that we had in Dragonflight, but from the most recent blue post we can expect most of our knowledge to come from completing these NPC crafting orders. They will pop up periodically and have set durations, so you can miss these crafting orders if you aren't checking back often enough, but for the most part you should see a steady stream of NPC crafting orders to keep you busy. Now, you don't have to worry about missing out on orders and knowledge because there will also be catch-up orders baked into the system right from the get-go. So if you miss 1 or 2 in a week, the next week you should see more orders giving you more knowledge and letting you catch back up. The same goes for if you join the expansion late, swap professions later on, or really any other reason that you may be behind in knowledge. You'll see a lot of these orders to help you catch up quickly, which means we shouldn't see the massive differences between crafters that we did see very early on in Dragonflight. Another big change for profession knowledge progression is that earning knowledge will actually be capped per week in the War Within. So we're going to have a specific weekly cap and you won't be able to earn more than that, so it will probably work exactly like any other seasonal cap that we have, except I guess this won't reset with the seasons. So a cumulative cap that increases for every week that goes by. So for example, you may only be able to get 10 knowledge per week, but that means if you didn't do anything until the second week, you would then be able to get 20 knowledge to catch up even within just a singular week. The further behind the current cap you are, the more NPC crafting orders you will see, the more knowledge you'll be able to earn in any given week, and you'll eventually catch up. Now, the actual weekly cap is actually going to depend on the profession, so different professions will earn knowledge at different rates, and this will be apparently tied to the size and complexity of your specialization trees. So I guess the more points you need to max out your trees in any given profession, the more knowledge you will be able to earn each week. The weekly cap addresses 2 main concerns. First, it makes it easier to catch up if you join the party late or swap professions sometime later on in the expansion, simply due to there being a tangible point where you can say that you are up to date with profession knowledge. The catch-ups use that cap to track and provide extra knowledge too, so that should work really well together. But the other fact here is that no one will be able to get too far ahead simply due to playtime or due to early exploiting. At the very start of Dragonflight, there were quite a few ways to get significantly ahead with your professions, both in terms of skill and leveling, but also with profession knowledge. Some folks were able to get ahead and stay ahead by so much that very few crafters could compete with them, and when being able to craft higher ranks and item levels let you corner the market very quickly and efficiently, those players ended up having a huge advantage and made a boatload of gold. Having a weekly knowledge cap prevents that from happening again. The NPC crafting orders will also be a major source of artisans acuity, which is the new material that we'll be collecting instead of artisans metal. Acuity can be used in various important progression related crafts like profession gear and tools, and it's also going to be used when recrafting any gear, so it will be quite similar to the artisan metal material from Dragonflight. It will also be the main currency used to purchase any vendor recipes, so if you're wanting to max out your professions quickly, you're going to need a lot of acuity. One interesting difference is that we'll be able to use acuity to buy bags of profession materials, which will also have a small chance to contain rare recipes. So that gives us a way to spend any excess acuity you might not be able to get rid of, while giving you some additional options and chances for obtaining unlearned recipes. With NPC crafting orders being the main sources of knowledge and acuity, they're arguably the most important part of the profession system moving forward. Now, we briefly mentioned earlier that inspiration will be going away and replaced with a new stat called Ingenuity. Ingenuity is really simple, it just gives you a chance to refund your concentration, which is another new mechanic for professions. Concentration is also really simple. You can have up to 500 concentration at any given time and it regenerates passively. You can check at the top left of your profession window to see how much you currently have. Each profession has its own concentration pool, so you don't have to worry about having 2 crafting professions on the same character and maybe double dipping into your concentration pool. Each one will have its own, so you can double craft to your heart's content. You can use your concentration by toggling this button on or off. It's right next to your expected crafting result. Toggling it on will use some of your concentration to guarantee your craft will be 1 tier or rank higher than its current result. So if you can get a recipe or craft up to rank 4, you can then use concentration to guarantee a rank 5 result without having to rely on any RNG or external items. Inspiration used to give you a chance to do kind of the same thing, crit your recipe to craft it higher than usual. Concentration is kind of the same deal, but it guarantees a full rank up no matter what. It's not dependent on the difficulty and what skill level you can get to, and then you just have to spend this new regenerating currency or value and you'll be able to craft higher tiers of gear or items. The concentration cost will depend on the craft and the recipe, so more valuable or higher difficulty crafts will cost more, while mass-produced items or lower difficulty recipes will cost less. The Ingenuity stack just gives you a chance to get a refund of concentration when you use it, so you can use it more often. The other big change that will affect every profession is an adjustment to how easily you can obtain the higher tiers of raw materials and intermediate crafted items. The general idea seems to be to make higher tiers harder to obtain, but make them more impactful when used in crafts. The example given was for mining or herbing. In Dragonflight you would start by collecting rank 1 materials while rarely getting rank 2 or 3, and then as you progress in your trade skill tree and level up your gathering, that would transition to just getting rank 2 materials by default and then rarely acquiring rank 3. In the War Within, the default will always be rank 1, so even when you're fully maxed out in your gathering profession, you will still be getting rank or tier 1 ores and herbs, and you'll have a higher chance of getting the rank 2 or 3 stuff. But rank 1 isn't going to become obsolete or fizzle out. This means that getting rank 2 or 3 stuff will be harder or rarer, which means it will also probably cost quite a bit more to use in the new expansion. The same goes for crafted items that are used in other recipes, so things like metal ingots and bolts of cloth. The difficulty of those recipes and reaching the rank 2 and 3 results will be much harder to keep rank 1 items relevant and making rank 2 and 3 items a larger investment. The good news is that the higher tiers of materials will contribute more to your crafting potential. The tiers of the reagents and materials you use make up 40% of a recipe's crafting difficulty now, up from 25%, so rank 2 and 3 items will be rarer or more expensive, but using them will give you a much larger boost to your resulting crafts, giving you access to those higher ranks and item levels. With all of these changes coming together, I think professions in the War Within will end up being a much more accessible system and just better overall. So I'm really excited to dive into professions when the War Within launches, especially with all of the alt-friendly changes coming with warbands as well. But that's how professions are shaping up as we head into the War Within expansion, so that's it for this video. What do you think of the concentration feature and NPC work orders being so important in the new expansion? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.